Recording this week has been exceptionally tough, and here's a good example of why, and I'm surprised that this recording actually kept. You can see here that there's a fire started, and I can't click on anything. I can't click to extinguish it, I can't click to call the fire department, and no one's making any attempt to evacuate. So this is one of the many latest issues that I'm having with the game. I think at this point EA have just completely given up on console players because on top of this I still can't get into the gallery either. And you can see here there's moments where the game just absolutely freezes, and then even when it starts sort of moving again on the screen, I still can't click on anything to action anything. And I thought I was just going to have to watch as everyone burned to death in this fire. And if the game hadn't frozen, I would have actually just let this fire play out to see if it did kill any of the Sims, and I would have left that in canonically. But instead, this happened. And this is why it's taken me so long to record episodes right now, because of this. So this sort of carried on for a couple of minutes until eventually the game just crashed, and it took me back to a moment, thankfully not long before this, because I actually saved before I started asking Penny to cook the meal, because it was the start of Christmas Day, it was the start of the end of the week, and I wanted to just save at that point before I started doing all the festivities for the week. But yeah, this is what I've been up against. Hi there, welcome to my channel and welcome to 1796 of the Decades Challenge. We're in our main household at the moment, but we're going to be taking a trip across to our second household at the start of 1796 because it's time for some birthdays across there. So with that, we'll head across and get started. And here we are at the MacLeod household. There's going to be a number of birthdays this week, most of them over at the MacLeod household here. And today, Sunday, the first day of 1796, it is the birthday of the twins, Charles and Hamish, who are aging up from toddler to child life stage. Unfortunately, I was having a couple of issues with the game and didn't get the recording of Charles aging up to a child, but here is Hamish aging up and here's Charles walking into the frame, so here's the two of them together aging up to be a child, and obviously I'm going to have to take them into CAS because, as you can see from Charles's outfit there, they are not in outfits that are appropriate for 1796. I made Charles outgoing and Hamish is going to be erratic, because the twins are going to be quite strong personalities. So starting with Hamish in CAS, this is his everyday wear. This is his formal wear. This is his sports wear, which is the same as his everyday wear. This is his sleepwear, and again I'm kind of limited in sleepwear for the child life stage, so it's a little bit more modern look than I would like. And this is his party wear, which is the same as his formal wear. And this is his swimwear. Again, the swimwear for the child life stage isn't great. This is his hot weather wear, which is the same as his everyday and sportswear. And this is his cold weather wear. And now this is Charles, and his outfits are almost exactly the same. This is his everyday wear. This is his formal wear. This is his sportswear, which again is the same as his everyday wear. This is his sleepwear. This is his party wear, which is the same as his formal wear. This is his swimwear. This is his hot weather wear, which again is the same as everyday and sportswear. And this is his cold weather wear. So their outfits are pretty much identical, maybe just a couple of small colour differences here and there. They do have just slightly different hairstyles so that I could tell them apart. Their outfits will probably change a little bit more as they're older, but since they are still children in this life stage, I thought I'd have them dressed fairly similar for being twins. Back at the main household, everyone's in a pretty good routine. Alexander has been helping around the farm and he's been building his child skills. They're almost maxed. Anne has been working on her toddler skills. She's coming along quite well with that. And we've got newborn Audrey, who's currently asleep, and as a newborn she can't really build any skills. And right now Penny is building her gourmet cooking skill because she has actually maxed her cooking skill already. On to Monday, we're going back across to the second household, the MacLeod household. And both the parents of the MacLeod household, Stuart and Elizabeth, are at the MacDonald farm, as they quite often are. Quite often find them and Bruce, the oldest child, visiting when I go to try and change households. But we're going across because it's time for another birthday, and this time it's Stuart's birthday. So here is Stuart blowing out his candles and aging up. Stuart is aging up to become an elder. Obviously, in last week's episode in 1795, we had Beth aging up to be an adult. There is quite an age difference. Beth did marry an older, wealthy man when she married Stuart. And here he goes. So obviously nothing major changes, but I am going to go into Cass and just make a couple of changes to Stuart to make him look a little more age appropriate. So what I've been trying to do in Cass with the adults, young adult to adult life stage and adult to elder life stage, is I've been trying to add like wrinkles on the face, and for the elders I've been adding age spots. I've been trying to add a bit of like grey hair and or receding hairlines just to try and express the age a little bit better. So I'm just going to quickly do that for Stuart just now, and then I'll show you how he looks once I'm done. Okay, so there he is. I've added a few sort of wrinkles around his forehead and bags around his eyes, and he's gained a couple of age spots in the side of his face, just to better indicate that he is actually an elder now, because in the adult life stage he did have white streaks through his hair. So just to make it a little bit more obvious, I've made some changes to him there. And last week when I aged up Elizabeth, I didn't really make a lot of changes, so I'm just going to go in and make a couple of changes to her as well now to make her look just a little bit older as well. So for Elizabeth, the main thing I've done is I've changed her hair colour to this shade of brown that kind of looks like it's got a little bit of grey through it. And I've toned down a little bit of her eye makeup. Her and Penny both did have eyeliner. At the time that I created them in Cass, the eyelashes weren't an option. And again, playing on console, I don't have any mods that I can add eyelashes on with. So to create the illusion of eyelashes on my female Sims, I used to just use eyeliner. So I've taken that off a little bit, and I've added a little bit of wrinkles around her mouth and eyes, just to make her look a little bit older, so that we can see the progression of age for Elizabeth as well. And for Tuesday, we'll be staying with the main household, and we have a birthday in our main household today, and it is for a newborn Audrey. Audrey is now going to age up to be an infant, so we'll see what she looks like when she ages up. And there she goes, there's infant Audrey, and I can see already that she's inherited Penny's red hair. So both the girls have got Penny's red hair, and Alexander, the one boy, got the darker hair from his dad Rory. So I'll pop into Cass, and again I'll just make a few changes for Audrey to make her clothing look more like it belongs in 1796. So here is Audrey in Cass. Again, same as I did for Anne, I'm probably going to change her hairstyle, and I'll be putting her into the same outfit that I've been putting all my infants in, which is kind of just that dress, which I think is from the Storybook Nursery kit. It's either that or it's from Life and Death, because it's got that sort of gothic theme to it. That's Audrey, got a slightly different hairstyle, and this is the outfit that I use here. It is from Life and Death, and I usually do it in black or in grey, because I was going to do it in a lighter colour there, but I've discovered that it actually has a pattern of skulls all over the dress, which when it's in black I couldn't see, but when I tried to put it on in a lighter colour it was a bit more obvious. So I'm just going to leave her in the black outfit, and that will be her outfit for every outfit. And then obviously when she ages up to a toddler, a bit like we did for Alexander and Anne before her, I'll customise her outfits a bit more and give her different outfits for different weather and different conditions. It's Wednesday and we're back across at the second household because it's time for another birthday over there. And this time it's Alfred who is aging up to be a teen. Alfred is the second oldest child in this household, and it's his turn to age up. Alfred's going all the way outside to age up. Alfred already has the proper trait, and he had a creative aspiration as a child. So as he grows up to a teen, we're going to continue with that, and I'm going to give him the painter extraordinaire aspiration and the creative trait. And we'll be taking Alf into Cass to give him a makeover, because this look definitely isn't it. In this challenge, I haven't really been changing the Sims' bodies or faces as they age up, but Alf has aged up a really unfortunate shape around his midsection, so I did just make a couple of cosmetic changes to him just to make him look a little bit more realistic, because literally his proportions were unrealistic. And here is Alf in CAS in his everyday wear. Being a creative and artistic sim, Alf is a little bit more unique with his dress choices, so he will look a little bit different from his older brother Bruce and his father Stuart. Obviously still, he has nicer clothes than our main household who don't have as much money, as you can see there in his formal wear, which is very nice wear. And this is his sports wear. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that jumper without the logo on it. This is his sleepwear. This is his party wear, which is the same as his formal wear. This is his swimwear, which generally is the same swimwear I've been using for the adult and up sims. This is his warm weather wear. And this is his winter wear. So again, he's a little bit more colourful and a little bit more characteristic with his choice of clothing. And back at the main household on Thursday, it's Rory's birthday. Rory is aging up from a young adult to an adult. I won't be changing very much about his clothing in CAS, but I am going to take him into CAS just to make a few tweaks, like I did with Beth when she aged up from a young adult to an adult. I'll just make a couple of changes to his hair and face details just to make him look a little bit more older to show the progression of time. So this is what Rory looks like facially at the moment in CAS, and I'm just going to make a couple of changes and see where we land with that, and I'll show that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going with this here for Rory. I'm a little bit disappointed in CAS that we're quite restricted with the number of hairstyles that show a receding hairline, because this is the most receding I could get without him being either completely bald on top or having a large bald patch at the back, which I didn't really want to have. And I'm just making his hair this slightly grey colour of brown like I did with Beth as well, just to give the impression that there's maybe a few grey hairs starting to appear. And then I'm just going to add a couple of details to his face, mainly around the eyes and the mouth, just to make him look a little bit older. And there we go, we've added some forehead wrinkles, a little bit of definition around the mouth, and a slight line under the eyes there, just to make him look a little bit older overall. And that's Rory aged up to an adult in our main household. So I'm having Rory go to the graveyard to bring Mary here, because since Mary's died I've never brought her gravestone to the graveyard, and I've noticed that Ian Robles has died in this game file, and looking at him closely there it seems like he died by killer rabbit, which further plays into my concern that the rabbits in Henford-on-Bagley are a bit wild, because in one of my recent episodes I had a rabbit win a fight against a fox. So we'll have to be extra careful with the rabbits hanging about around McDonald Farm. So I've put Mary there beside Robert. It's not a very fancy arrangement that I've got for them. I'll maybe build something a little bit nicer over time. I'm still not having funerals at this point in the game, but as we come into more modern times that will be something that we do. And Rory has come here, and randomly Elizabeth and Bruce were both here from the second household, so I'll maybe just get Rory to do some socials with them whilst I engrave the epitaph for Mary. And again, I'm just going to put the same thing that I put for Robert, which is just Gen 0, just so that I know which generation the Sims are from at a glance once we get further into the game. And I see a name and I start thinking, oh, when were they involved in this? And the snow is really coming down, and I am pretty sure this is the first time that I've had snow playing this Decades Challenge in Henford-on-Bagley. I'm sure the last time it was winter it didn't snow, but it's definitely snowing this time for winter. But it looks really pretty at least. And taking advantage of the snow, Alexander and Anne are going to build a snowman together. They're doing quite a rubbish job of it, but they are a child and a toddler, so I suppose we can't really expect much better. But it's nice for them to have a little bonding experience. And on this snowy night in our main household, the family have all put on their warm weather wear and gathered around the fire, which is making for quite a nice scene. The only one not here is Audrey the infant. That's because she's in her separate little room on her playmat doing her own thing. But this was just a nice family moment with everybody together around the fire. And because Audrey has a playmat, we can have this cute moment of Anne playing with Audrey. We can have toddlers play with infants when they're on the playmat, which entertains both of them and it helps them bond and build their relationship together, which is quite sweet. Doesn't help that Rory's in the background taking photos with his mobile phone, which he shouldn't have at this particular time period, but we'll just pretend that we didn't see that. It's Friday now and we're back across at our second household because once again we've got a birthday at our second household. This is the last birthday of this week, the last birthday of 1796, and it is Margaret, the only girl in this, well, the only daughter in this household. She is aging up from a toddler to a child. And here she goes. Margaret's aging up. And for her trait, Margaret is going to be outgoing. Even though she's the only daughter in this family, Margaret is very confident already. And we'll just pop into Cass and give her a bit of a makeover. As the only girl in this family, Margaret is a little bit of a princess, as you can see from her everyday wear there and her formal wear. Elizabeth is overcompensating because she only got one daughter. And this is her sportswear, which is the same as her everyday wear, which is a little bit stuffy for sportswear. And this is her sleepwear. All of Margaret's clothes as well reflect the fact that obviously she's from a wealthier family than our main household. And this is her party wear, which is the same as her formal wear. And this is her swimwear, and again I'm a bit restricted in swimwear for children. And this is her hot weather wear, which is the same as her everyday and sportswear. And this is her cold weather wear. And that is Margaret. And when I returned to the main household, for some reason while I was away, Audrey the infant has managed to teleport herself somewhere on this map in all this snow. I'm assuming those paths of snow through to the grass are where she's crawled her way away from the house. And Penny is currently running off trying to find her. And here she is, in front of someone else's lot for some reason, fast asleep in the snow. It's Saturday morning, it's the end of 1796, and that means it's time for a holiday. And because this week it's been winter, our holiday is Christmas. So as always, one of the points to cover is put up decorations, which we've done already. There's have the party spirit, light candles, have the festive spirit, and open presents. Alexander's been a bit sad lately because he feels like he's not getting any attention because I've been skill building with his sisters basically because they're at that stage where they need hands-on skill building from their parents. So I'm just gonna have Penny go and give him some attention just now. So she's gonna give him the best hug ever and then we'll carry on checking off what they need to do to have a good holiday.
Oh, Kwambu, Kwambu, Nayabuya.
Okay, that's made him happy at least. That's cheered him up, so that's good, and that's helped bond and repair any damage that had happened to their relationship. So I'm just going round having everyone do some things to check off what they need to for the holiday. They've lit candles if they were able to, because obviously the younger children couldn't. They've exchanged gifts, they've done some belly laughs and other festive spirit related things. And here we have Penny away to give a gift to Alexander. So everything's been done now. You can see the candles lit on the table there. Everyone has done enough to have a happy holiday, which means this is where we're going to end 1796. It's been quite an eventful year. In our second household, we've had the twins, Charles and Hamish, aging up to children. Stuart became an elder. Alfred became a teenager. And Maggie became a child. And over here in our main household, we've had Audrey here, held by Penny, has grown up to an infant from a newborn. And Rory aged up to be an adult. And with that, as everyone starts to settle down for the night, we'll call it a day for 1796. Join us next time as we see what happens in 1797. Thanks for watching.